So, George, been a great start to the season so far this year. You're the only driver to finish every race and lap. You've been in the top 5 for all of those. When you look back at this, you must be proud of how the start of your Mercedes career has begun.
Yeah, I think so. I think now seeing how the season's panned out, knowing that as a team we're not quite where we want to be, I feel like almost every single race we couldn't have really scored a better result. I think we've maximised every occasion. There's only been one race where we've had a different manufacturer ahead of us than just Ferrari and Red Bull, and that was in Imola when Lando finished P3. Generally, it's been a pretty promising start.
Now, 3 podiums, I think, so far this year. You're heading in Silverstone as the lead Mercedes driver. I mean, it's crazy, right?
Yeah, define crazy. I don't know, to be honest. You know, I'm here to win championships. I'm here to fight for victories, and top 5s are all well and good. But at the end of the day, I'm P4 in the championship, and we're a long way off the lead of the championship and a long way off fighting at the moment. And that's what I'm here to do. That's what we as a team are here to do. So we've got a lot of work to do, to improve, to catch up. Obviously, you've got to take the positives. You've got to take the silver linings, because you can't just be demoralised every time you go out on track and you're a second off the leaders. We take a lot of pride in knowing that we've got the maximum results possible, but we know that we need to keep on pushing.
Now, we've got used to your strong performances in qualifying, but I feel like this year you've really nailed it on the Sunday as well. So what have you done to go from Mr. Saturday to Mr. Sunday?
I thought it was Mr. Consistency was what I was being told.
And that's another podium for Mr. Consistency.
Nicely done, team. Well done.
You know, you go into every single weekend I focus on myself always and my team around me. What can we do to get the best result possible? I'll always look at what my rivals are doing and my teammates doing, but I never like to be too fixated on what they do, because at the end of the day, every driver is different. You need different things from your car, from your team, to get the most out of it for yourself. And I've gone into this season with the same approach. I've done nothing from the Saturdays to the Sundays. Globally speaking, I probably had better Saturdays last year at Williams than I have done, relatively speaking, and I have done this season. But no, I feel like I'm developing a lot, and that's also been, thanks to being teammates with Lewis, seeing how he operates, how he works with the team. I feel really privileged being in that position.
You seem to get on really well with him, both on and off the track.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I never thought our relationship would be bad, but it's definitely exceeded expectations of how we get on. We're working really well together, really closely, very open. There's sort of no secrets, and we're here to push each other. We're here to win. And I don't think there's any hard feelings if I'm ahead of him or he's ahead of me, because ultimately we're not here to fight for P4, P5. We want to fight for victories.
Now, it's not just that relationship that seems to go well. You seem to have settled in here really well. I know you've had a long relationship with the team, but are you even surprised at just how quickly you adapt into it, weekend in, weekend out, Mr. Consistent?
Yeah, I think no, it's good. I've known everybody here so well for so long, and probably spending the year as reserve driver back in 2018 when I raced in F2 helped, because I'd always go for dinner with the guys. So obviously, now you're a full-time driver, you can't really afford on a Saturday night to go to the curry house for an Indian takeaway or whatever before race day, because your digestion, especially with the bouncing and the porpoising, probably wouldn't be too great. And obviously the diet's pretty strict, but back then, every single night I was out with the team, with the mechanics, with the engineers, with all the marketing team, and I feel like one of them. I feel like fully part of this team, and there's no egos here. There's no. Everybody's like one big family, and we're all striving for the same goal.
And have you been able to your voice is heard? Because it sounds like they're listening to you and Lewis, and it is one team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I don't feel any pressure to speak up or not to speak up. I feel myself here, and always being open and honest, and it goes both ways. And I think there's such a good culture within this team. And I've known how talented this group of people are, but I've been really impressed with what I've seen so far. And I guess it's not to be surprised, but always seeing how the best operate is always a pleasure to see.
Now, you had a great kind of apprenticeship, I guess, at Williams. Do you feel like you've come here as a more accomplished driver, ready to take this opportunity?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when you're driving around at the back of the grid and you feel like you're doing a relatively good job, you feel ready for the big time, you feel ready to jump into a car to fight for victories. in hindsight, I probably would have been able to fight for victories. I'm sure, I've got no doubt about it, if I was in that Mercedes after 1 year or after 2 years. But I definitely wouldn't have been as complete as I am today. I would have probably had a different approach, and it's been a good time to change teams because it's a complete fresh start for everybody. You're learning a new car, learning new tyres, and going up against the greatest driver of all time into a team and a car that was fully developed around him, fully ingrained. That is a hell of a challenge just this year, but we're still starting from zero. But doing that last year or the year before, when that was, his baby, would have been immensely challenging. So everything works out for the right reasons as such, and it doesn't matter which route you take. I think it's always the right route. You always make the most of every situation.
So let's talk Silverstone and the British Grand Prix. How does it feel to be heading to your home race with a car that, okay, maybe not contending for wins, but a podium at least?
Yeah, it's exciting. I think last year was really eye-opening for me going to my home race. I think it was our first race back where we had a full crowd, 350,000 people there throughout the whole weekend. The support I got was huge. I appreciated it so much, and it's sort of memories I'll carry for life. And I remember standing up on one of the stages in front of probably 15,000 fans on the Sunday after the race, and it was just brilliant. And there's so much support for motorsport, so much support for the three of us in F1 at the moment, and just looking forward to getting there.
Is that part of what makes Silverstone so special, that atmosphere? What makes it stand out?
I think, that is the home of motorsport. The British fans love racing. They are, hardcore Formula One motorsport fans. They understand it, they get it. Going to some of these other places, it's brilliant to see all the support we're getting in Formula One, especially at the moment. But I think in the UK, it's a slightly different fan base, and it's these are people who watched all the junior categories as well, who have been following all of us for so long, and also being British, you feel a bit more of a closer connection to everybody there. So I feel so almost like honoured to be British, to have my home race as Silverstone with those fans, and obviously racing the Mercedes, teammates with Lewis. It's going to be a pretty epic weekend. And
it's a pretty epic podium there, just the position of it, and when you've got all the fans underneath it. What do you think it would mean to you to be standing up on there?
Yeah, it'd be massive, definitely. I want to be standing on the top step though. I don't want to be standing on P2 or P3, and I want my first time on that podium in an F1 car to be standing on the top step. So we'll be doing everything we can to make that happen.
I like it. Now tell me about the track. It's a pretty special one. We talk about these famous corners, even the straights, are world renowned. What makes it such a great challenge and something that you enjoy driving?
I think it's just got such an incredible flow to it. Every corner leads on to the next. You've got Copse, which is now flat out in a Formula One car. I'm not too sure if it will be now, but last year was going through that corner almost 190 miles an hour. The force is through the body, through the tyres, through the car. It's just immense. And I remember it was just on a test day, and I remember going out to Maggots and Beckett's and watching the cars on track, and the speed the Formula One cars took through there was just crazy. And I think you've really got to see that up close and personal to appreciate the speed of these Formula One cars. But just everything about that whole weekend, as I said, starting with the fans, with the support, then with the circuit. We all stay in, a lot of the drivers stay in motorhomes that weekend. It just feels like a very different atmosphere, a different vibe. I have all my friends and family there, so many people in the fans supporting all of us. So yeah, it's a special one.
So just finally, you've obviously talked about slightly difficult start to the season, maybe not what you were expecting. So what would a strong result at Silverstone after the difficulties that the team had mean to you?
Well, a win a win is what we're going for, but definitely I think everybody in this team is working so hard to overcome these challenges, and I think that's been really inspiring for me to see how everybody's coming together, working day and night to try and improve the performance, and how everybody's coming together. Yeah, I think you learn a lot about yourself when you're having to really dig deep to try and find what will make or break that machine, that beast that we're all trying so hard to improve. But Silverstone holds a special place for me. It was the first time I won a race in my junior career in Formula 4 back in 2014. Now it's where I did the Young Driver of the Year award back in 2014 as well, and that was a huge moment in my career. So there's a lot of special memories there, and hopefully we can add one more.